Welcome back to Whitt Acres. Today we're doing the April garden tour. It's a beautiful sunny day today. Where are you going, Pop? Did you see something? But we have a beautiful sunny day here. We're just past the middle of April, and a lot of things have been growing. We have the yellow tulips that I planted over on the right side of the waterfalls are blooming now. I didn't even expect them to bloom this year. And then we also got the left side planted up with some yellow tulips during the emergency planting video. With the warmer weather comes faster growth on the algae, and that's creating a cool little ecosystem underneath the water. Oh, Pop. But the waterfalls are looking nice with the yellow tulips and the creeping jenny starting to put on its color. What do you think, Pop? We got a lot of rain, so we have a nice full pond here. I'm actually really surprised that these roses I left in the bags and outside, never really watered them. I did put them in the pond a couple times, so I guess I did water them, but they survived all winter in these bags that you get from Tractor Supply or Walmart, whichever. And then I got this bigger one at the end of the year last year. It was in rough shape, so it was on sale. And this, along with a mum, survived all winter long in their pot. This is the first chrysanthemum that I've ever been able to overwinter. I'm hoping to get that in the ground so it can establish and actually become a perennial in the landscape here. Oh, the geyser. But we have a few more yellow roses over here by the stone that are blooming. These actually have a pretty decent sized cup on them. And then this one up here next to the loop, and it has a red tinge to the edges. It's towards the end of its bloom, but it still looks good. And it's about time I get the pond area weeded out and mulched. We've been getting a lot of growth this past week, especially on the hostas. Last video, they were barely coming out of the ground, and they're practically a full plant now. And I haven't been able to get my chickens put away and closed off in their summer run, so I've really been getting lucky with them not eating my hosta leaves yet. We have a nice lime one that came back in this pot. And the dark purple heuchera are starting to come back as well over here next to the stones. Oh, and my variegated ghost hosta. That'll look better once we cut the daffodils back. I need to do some weeding along the driveway row here in that blue fescue. The maple tree isn't too bad here, it just needs mulched over. And then going up the rest of the driveway here, we start off with sedum, then we have a hosta, daylily, and then it alternates hosta, daylily the rest of the way down, ending with another sedum. A lot of areas still need weeded and mulched, but the perennials don't have time for that. They're coming up anyway. We have two Shasta daisies over here in this area that we made last year for the Norway maple. It's leafing out nicely, and it has a bright yellowish orange. This is starting to leaf out nicely, which is good because we just planted it last year. My dad wanted this tree because it has a nice bright yellow tinge to the leaves all spring and early summer long. It will green up in the summer, but it has a really nice spring color to it. The hosta daylily combination keeps repeating down the line here to the next marble pathway. And then we come upon the dubbed poplar bed here. This has some sedum going across an arcing pattern here, and then it turns into Shasta daisies coming over to the bird bath. We're getting a nice pop of color from the orange rocket barberry here. What are you doing? I don't see anything. Did you hear something, Pop? You tell him. You tell him. Echo Pup's got to protect his flock. I don't have him out free ranging right now, though. Good boy, Puppy. I'm trying to get the grass out there to dry out, and if I leave the ducks out there puddling all day long, the grass will never dry out. It'll just stay mud. All right, Pup. I think I just got stung by a bee. Well, that hurt. That's right on the big toe. Puppy, help. Yeah, Pup, that bee hurt me. And I just got stung by a carpenter bee on my pinky yesterday, cleaning out the gutter at the barn. But with all these dandelions and creeping Charlie blooming, we have a lot of bees flying around. I have actually mowed the yards 3 times since our last garden tour, but the grass has been growing so fast with all the warm weather and the rain that we've been getting the past couple weeks. It's hard to keep up with, and I haven't even been able to go out in the field and mow yet because it's been too wet out there. The mountain ash tree on the corner here is really starting to leaf out. We have this poplar that volunteered. It's a multi-branch poplar. I don't want to just cut it out of here. I do want to dig that out, but it can't stay here, so I need to dig it out and move it. It's really crowding out the forsythia, taking away a lot of light from it. Down at the base here we have the bamboo marigold, I call it. It's actually a Mexican sunflower, or Tithonia diversifolia, and it gets 7 to 12 feet tall, so that's going to really compete with that poplar there. And then I have a few yuccas and some daylilies coming up. The deer finally stopped eating them, so they're coming up nicely now. Behind them we have a red azalea that's actually going to bloom, I think, for the first time this year. And also back here, some of the astilbe and bleeding hearts are coming back. Well, this is the first I'm seeing this. The lilac's actually blooming right now. I need to take some cuttings from this and get them inside. They smell beautiful. Not yet. The lilac has a beautiful purple color to it. It's not blooming great right now because I did recently cut this way back to manage its size. And being underneath this hemlock, it's not getting the most sunlight. The viburnum on the outside is not blooming here yet, but the purple periwinkle vine is blooming all over and it's looking really good. I just made an arrangement using mostly that as a filler. We'll come into the pathway first and then we'll go down the peninsula because there is something blooming down there I want to show you. Don't look at that, you don't need to see that. Here off the path we have another red and yellow tulip, but it's backwards from the one before. It actually has yellow edges and a red center. And I'm glad to see another yellow tulip come back. The purple's looking really good blooming through here. On the other side you can see the hostas coming up. We have the world's largest hosta, the Empress Wu. And then in the shade of the rhododendron I plugged in some more brighter colored hostas, and it kind of draws your eye more into where the bench is. And one year I do plan on mulching the island and making it look real good. I'm Pop. You take a break. I put the bird bath down on the ground just so the chickens can get access to it instead of it being up on that post, but I kind of really like it, so it's going to stay like that for a while. I call this purple blooming vine periwinkle, but I'm not exactly sure if that's the right name. But I'm training it along the rocks here to kind of just rope around this curve. We'll probably be able to make it to the end this year. I'm hoping my little ice plants come back. It looks like this one's barely alive, and I don't see my mini one. I'm pretty sure it was right around here. That's unfortunate. Now the peninsula here off the island garden is full of perennials, and we actually have some blooming already. We already had the crocuses blooming back here, but we have the very first iris blooming. Look at this purple iris, just a beautiful light purple. So this is the first iris that's going to bloom on this mound, but it's definitely not going to be the last. We have irises here, we have crocus. The next thing actually that's going to bloom here is the allium. You can see them starting to bud up right now. We have little white and purple ones. I think the purple ones are a little bit bigger than the white. But over here on the end we have blue sea iridium that really reseeded this year, so we actually have a whole sea of it. There was some Asiatic lilies planted over here too, but I have different perennials all through the peninsula here to give me all season long color looking up to the barn. I'm Pop. And I'm kind of surprised this iris actually bloomed before the allium. But I'm just one person working on the gardens here, so it's really hard to get them all looking nice before spring comes. My goal is usually like July 4th. Ooh, and we also have peonies popping up everywhere. This one's getting some height. I don't even feel like the gardens are looking that nice right now because I haven't been doing the garden tour. But once I get out here and see all the things that are blooming, it's not too bad. But it'd be a lot better weeded and mulched. Come on, Pop. We'll pop into the vegetable garden here real quick. The hyacinths that we planted are finishing up here at the entrance. Gotta put the chicken guard off. So the pollinator ring is starting to bloom here. I actually misspoke and said that these were going to be a blue color like the ones I have out front, but they're actually a nice lavender pink color. And it's good to see at least one set of my Asiatic lilies coming back. But the blooms are starting here. And I believe it was last video we got these raised beds all cleaned up and ready for planting. And we even got some onions in, and you can see they're starting to come up here in the middle of the bed. I got these in later than I usually do, but they're coming up, so hopefully we can still get a nice harvest. So I told my dad to harvest the asparagus, and he missed his moment. We might still be good, but they might start getting woody at this size. But there's still a lot more coming up here. We have a real full bed of asparagus. Purple night asparagus here, and some Mary Washington. But you can still eat these tips even when they get full size. Asparagus-y. Now Echo Pup's working on it right now, trying to get all the moles and voles out of the area, but I really need to get in here and get the pumpkin patch ready. This is the area I'm planning on growing my giant pumpkin this year, and I only have a couple more days before I plan on starting my seeds. My honey locust is alive and well, and that's really good to see. I love seeing the mature honey locust trees around town with their bright color in the spring. Looks like my autumn blaze red maple's coming in nicely, and hopefully that oak will put on some leaves. Right past it we have the hybrid oak willow, and it's been leafed out for a while now. But down here in the middle I still need to try and get this old autumn blaze red maple out of here. But that's not really a priority. I'm sure this oak is alive. I have good faith in it. And the hybrid oak willow is looking real good over here. Loving this swampy area. Also in the swampy area, we have a red twig dogwood, we have a yellow twig dogwood, and we have a bald cypress here in the middle. Going around the curve here, you can kind of see we have daylilies coming up, and then right in the center there in front of the bald cypress, we have a patch of irises. I do plan on expanding the gardens all the way out the field here, so we have blooms everywhere. This is what I'm referring to as the south garden. It's in its baby phase right now. I did just get some mature maples moved out there. 2 out of, I believe, 10 of them that we planted did die and they're not coming back. So I'm going to replace those with the willows that I have over in the nursery. But it's good to see some growth on these ones. And once it gets dry enough to go out there and plant the willows, we're going to pull off all the pipe from these trees. Up. All right, go ahead. Outside the vegetable garden fence here, we have the cut flower garden bed that I put in. You can see it's filling up with weeds pretty good now. There are some perennials that are in there, and hopefully a lot of reseeding sunflowers. I have irises, echinacea, Shasta daisies coming through here, and a lot of grass and weeds. I got the border of it all edged out and looking nice. I have been working on edging out all the yards. I got to be careful when I go in there and weed though, because I think some calla lilies should be coming up on this corner. Starting right here is the garden entrance bed, and I have a Shasta daisy right there and a few calla lilies coming through here. I do want to build a stone and wooden bench there. I found one rock for it already. And then I want to get some more plants in here. We do have a black tower elderberry right here on the corner. It's in its 3rd year, so I'm hoping for some good growth this year. We have a yucca down here and some yarrow that's getting a little taken over by the grass. And then right here on the corner, we have my rising sun redbud putting on a little bloom. We'll go out front and see the eastern redbud that's a lot bigger. It's putting on a really nice bloom right now. Good boy, puppy. You starting on the weeding in the cut flower garden? Good boy. Right in front of it, we have a pretty good sized loop, and I'm looking for some good color on that this year. You cooling off at the beach, pup? Good boy. We're gonna head up to the pergola before we go out front. The red maple's looking beautiful right now. It was actually in a really nice yellow bloom, but now it's starting to leaf out with its bright red leaves. Still can see some of the remnants of the yellow blooms, but it's looking good. Now up here at the pergola, I have some material I've been storing and I need to get cleaned up and out of the way. But the vines aren't waiting. They already started putting on a lot of growth. The honeysuckle already filled out its entire allotted space, and the silver lace vine is overreaching its allotted space. Pop, you gonna check on the baby chicks? Hey little chickies, how's everybody doing in there? You guys got water on a warm day? Yeah, you still got some, but you're really low. You guys are still huddling together though. Yeah, we'll get you all turned over here before bed. Pop. But off the pathway of the pergola here, we are starting to get some things to emerge. I just planted this white hyacinth that's finishing up, but behind the rooster statue here, we have the fragrant pink Asiatic lily coming up. We should get a really nice show off of this as long as I don't decapitate it like I did last year. Behind that, we have the giant echinacea, and then we have some hostas coming up along the edge of the pathway as well. I am trying to get some elephant ears planted into the ground here, and I need to do some weeding back here before I do the mulching. But we have another hosta coming up here on the corner of the hanger and a pink hyacinth here, and I don't know where, but my dad was planting some dahlias back here. I was hoping for a bloom this year, but I guess my lilac here is still a little bit too young. But it's good to see the line of hostas coming back. Now these 3 Thuja Green Giants were 1-foot whips whenever I first planted them over here. This area around the pergola is probably one of my better soil areas on the property, but they've been doing really well. This is the tallest one, about 9 feet tall. And right past that, you can probably already smell it. The viburnum is in full bloom. A very soft white with a nice pink hue to it. I should have got in here and did some pruning on my firelight hydrangea before it started putting on its new growth, but I think I can still get to it. Beside the washbowl stone, we have the yucca coming up and then a line of Shasta daisies I'm hoping to see a nice bloom on this year. The daffodils are done here, but we have the variegated feather reed grass coming in, so I really need to get in the pergola here and do some pruning back on these perennials. Lots and lots to do. Hump Pup, you got a massive peony behind you. This one's putting on a lot of height. That's gonna be a very fragrant, large white one. And in front of that, we have another fragrant pink Asiatic lily. Hump Pup. And the blue star Amsonia needs pruned back too. Its growth is coming up already. And the zebra grass too. It's a process. Now over here in this little cove, we do have some blooms starting. Behind the dwarf Alberta spruce here, we have a white dogwood. Now last year this did have a few blooms on it, but nothing like this. It's definitely coming into a full bloom this year. This little cove here, I've only put in purple and white things. So we have the white dogwood. Behind that is a white azalea. And at the base of it, we have a white Shasta daisy. But on the other side of the base, we have a hosta popping out of the ground and one way back there behind it. There's another one up here on the right, and if you don't know, these hostas will bloom purple. And right beside this hosta, we have a moneywort. And it's not just the leaves that are beautiful on this plant, it does have a bloom, and it's actually finishing up its bloom, but this plant blooms pink to blue. It's an awesome combination of color on one plant. Oh, the geyser. Love seeing that come on. Now we do have some color in the side garden and in the front, but I have to try and frame it so I don't see my neighbors' houses. There we go. It looks good now. And the blue Atlas cedar survived winter. And of course the eastern redbud's looking good. That eastern redbud actually came from my grandma's farm. We dug it up and brought it down here to retransplant it, and it's been doing well ever since. Oh, and you're in luck, it's still blooming. This is the last different style of daffodil that we have here on the property. I believe this one is called Summer Cheer. It has a beautiful fragrance to it, but it's made up of a bunch of little clusters of flowers. Just beautiful. Up, up. You going in the greenhouse, check it out? We have some starts in here coming up, but nothing like previous years. I'm trying to wrangle in my seed starting this year to things that I really want. I don't know if you noticed, but I have a tendency to spread myself out pretty thin. A new addition is this little goose statue with some solar lighting that accents it at night. But look at the growth here on the irises in the ramp bed. We also have the daylily that's just massive now. It's pretty much completely snuffing out the hosta. This hosta is mixed with a spiderwort, and it looks like it's coming back alive. And the penstemmon's been doing better and better each day. And then here behind the bench, we do have some gladiolas starting to pop up through here. And we might be taking down the patio tarps this weekend, opening up everything, and then I'll be able to get my vine trellis up on this end. Of course, the rose bed is on the list to get done as well, but I'm thinking I might get to the pergola next. Oh, the geyser. What are you doing out, chickens? And now I'll take you out front and show you what's going on out there. We do have some nice blooms coming on the eastern redbud. And along the road by the farm stand, I do have a bunch of wood chips dropped off so I can get that all remulched. But there's a lot of rearranging that's going to be going on in the front and along the road. And since my neighbors are out right now, I'm just going to have to put some music over some B-roll. Pop, do you enjoy the garden tour? Yeah. But that's going to be all for this one. I just wanted to show you where the gardens are right now so you can see the whole progression as we go through the growing season. If you want to keep following along with everything here at Whitt Acres, make sure to subscribe down below. Hit that like button if you liked the video, and you can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching.